guys, it's Kyle with Backyard Farming Supply. We're here at the end of the year to take a look at our garden. Things are looking ripe, things are looking beautiful. Let's check everything out. So this tomato plant right here is a really good example of a multicolored change and a multicolored ripening. So most tomatoes will only go through one change while they ripen. They'll go from green to the next color, and once their entire tomato is covered in that color, it's ripe and ready to go. This is an example of a two-stage ripening. So most people would look at this tomato right here and say, hey, it's changed completely from green, it's purple, it's probably ready to go. But if we slice into this tomato, it's completely green on the inside and not ready to go at all. These guys are actually turning red at the bottom of the tomato. This is the second phase of the color change that we have with this tomato. It'll actually turn a little bit orange, a little bit red, and you can see right there, the top is a little bit older, so that is actually ready to go. Wow. Two-stage color change with this tomato. Now, when we slice into it, it'll be meaty, it'll be a different color on the inside, not green, a little bit darker, it'll be sweet, and it'll be delicious. This is the delicious tomato. That's actually the name, is the delicious tomato, and this is a great example of why we trellis our plants, to get that great structure that we're looking for. This here is our Mountain Magic, and it just wants to keep climbing. So we're gonna have to re-trellis it here at the end of the year. So even though it's late and all these other tomatoes here are kind of starting to slow down, this guy is still absolutely growing here. So we're gonna go ahead and trellis her up. I'm gonna stick that all the way through. Now, instead of continuing to grow downward and hanging on itself, this is actually going to be supported by this trellis net here, and that's going to allow the plant to focus its energy on actually ripening the fruit and getting them to their full potential. So in order to keep getting those fruits kind of at the top, like you see, where the best fruits really can be. We're here in the pepper bed. Let's see how many different kind of peppers we've got here. So this is our Primero Red Hot Habanero. These are a really nice variety of habanero. They're a little bit more on the savory side as opposed to your traditional orange habanero. These guys can reach anywhere from 150 to 200,000 Scoville units. You let these mature a little bit more, there is just a ton of fruit on here. Check that out. We lift that up. There are just dozens of peppers under this guy. That's about perfect maturity right there. So the chocolate ghost is a little bit different than a red ghost. A chocolate ghost has a small chance of actually turning a dark purple color. That is why it is called chocolate, not because it tastes like chocolate or because it has some form of cocoa in it or anything like that. It's simply the color variation of the pepper itself. Chocolate ghosts can be right up there with the traditional ghosts, and both of those are right around the 1 million Scoville unit mark. That's right, 1 million Scoville unit. That's over 400 times hotter than a traditional jalapeno. So this is can be a really warm pepper, so definitely be careful. Again, not every single one of them is going to be that hot, but once in a while, every few that you're going to hit are going to hit pretty hard. Handle with care. Always wear gloves if you're around little kiddos, and just be careful around that. That's just with all hot peppers in general. They're just starting to get this light color change. Not a whole lot of them went that dark color here. Most of them are sticking pretty red. We're going to let a few of these go pretty mature so we can see if we get that color change. But this plant is absolutely bursting with fruit. If you look in here, that is just absolutely covered. Again, why they call this the scorpion pepper, you can sort of see this very specific recessing that happens right here, and it causes that tail to sort of curl backwards and stick out all by itself right there. That is a very traditional style scorpion. We'll actually see it sometimes go all the way around and sort of look like a flower with the bottom coming out of it as well. But that just sort of recessedness and that kind of dragon hook around the bottom is why they call that the scorpion pepper. This here is the Havasu pepper. So this is actually a very mild pepper, probably the most mild in in here, but it does a really good job at sucking up a lot of those extra sugars and stuff like that. So this thing tops out at about 3,000 to 5,000 Scoville units. So that is a pretty low amount of capsaicin there, but again, lower than a jalapeno even. But the flavor on these roasted together with anything in here is going to accent the flavor of that pepper that you're cooking with. So as long as we stage these correctly, tall, medium, shorter, shortest, we can kind of have everything in a row together here, and everything can grow nicely together, so we can get something that's not so hot. Even though it fills up a lot of space, it works well together with everything else in this bed. So the Scoville unit on this guy, the heat units on this, they're generally anyway between 1.5 and 1.75 million. Some have reached as high as 2 million Scoville units. That's double again what the ghost pepper had for Scoville units. So 2 million Scovilles is what these guys can reach. So that's pretty darn hot. Again, very much handled with care. So here is what they are when they are mature. Again, deep, rich red color, very consistent with that Reaper. Whereas the Scorpion hooked from the bottom, this will recess in the bottom a little bit of this, but you'll see more of this sort of bell curve at the top where it sort of looks like a bell hung upside down. It's shortening the level of the pepper so that it makes sure that every single inch of that pepper gets that deep, heavy concentration of capsaicin to reach those maximum levels of heat. A poblano plant. So you can see why these are super popular, because the structure of this plant really provides it a capability to dump a lot of really wide fruit kind of all together here. This is a pretty decent looking poblano, not quite mature all the way, still a little bit light on the top end there. We'll probably leave that one for a little bit longer. Something like this though, where you see that dark green variation all around the top. So that dark green, that means it's ready and ready to go. Very low on the Scoville unit scale as well. These actually tap out a little bit lower than the Havasus. These are about 1,500 Scoville units. So again, very mild, which is why they're super popular as a base for a lot of green chili sauces, and a lot of green chili flavor, that verde flavor that you're looking for. It roasts really nicely because it's robust. It's got very low end Scoville, but just a little bit to provide that bit of smokiness that you're looking for when roasted to complement them kind of together there. This is a cayenne pepper. Everybody knows the typical table spice cayenne pepper. It is used in a lot of recipes, kind of all over different types of cooking. The reason this pepper is so popular is because A, it's a great fruiting plant. Look how many different fruits we're seeing just on a single vine there. It's kind of popping off every single one of these here, just really nice spacing there. Gives the peppers area to mature and allow them to grow in these different sizes and shapes. A lot of them get that sort of distinct curvature, at least some curves, sometimes a curve all the way backwards. But they really dehydrate nicely. If you leave them on there and even allow them to vine ripen a little bit, this has actually even started to go maybe a little bit too long, but you can kind of see how it just sort of wants to get that dehydrated look to it, that sort of crisp down, crisp back look to it. So you literally would just take this, slice it, put it in the dehydrator until all the moisture is out of it, hit it with either a mortar and pestle or just a simple tabletop push button grinder, and you've got your own homemade cayenne pepper. You can ground it as fine or as coarse as you'd like, and this again is a really easy way to not only add a pepper to your recipe, but to add a spice to it as well. You can see sometimes here, this is a little bit younger one, sometimes they even curl back all the way on themselves. Look at that guy. Looks like a serpent just hanging out right there. But that, again, same sort of thing. It's sort of dehydrating at the tip there, so it is ready to harvest. Even though the top is a little bit on the lighter color side, that will table mature a little bit, and we need to get it out of there so it doesn't dehydrate back on itself too much, because then it starts to, even though it's condensing those flavors, it can start to have sort of a stale sort of taste to it. So we're right at the perfect time for harvesting for both of these guys. We'll just chop them up and get them dehydrated. So if you want some more ideas, please check us out. We are Backyard Farming Supply. I'm Kyle. Have a great day.